Welcome to Coffee with Blaine. This is Coffee. I am Blaine, and end it. Ah, how you guys doing? This is Coffee with Blaine. That's a pretty fitting intro, I think. Save that one, guys. Save it on the internet for all to laugh at. How you doing, Scoob? How's your Janet? Good morning. Good morning. We chilling. I just want to say hello to everybody. Hi. So, today is February 10th. We are into that second month. Oh, welcome, Brittany. I'm writing. We need to stop because I have to pee. Late start today. Yeah, I start when I want. That's what I tell myself to get me to do stuff. Actually, it's kind of funny, Janet. You just inadvertently spilled into a conversation I was having with a good buddy, my old college roommate, who just moved down to Nashville. And Lindsay, good morning. Miss you around here, around these parts. And my friend posted an interesting question because I brought up the fact that I'll be 40 in basically 1 month from tomorrow. Kicking cancer's ass today by creating new recipes in the lab. I love that, Scoop. That's amazing. And he asked me the question, if you could go back through your 20s, I think he said teens and 20s, what would you do differently? Oh, thanks, Derek. The water's fine. Hop on in. But yeah, he said, what would you do differently? And that's always a fun thing for me because when I was younger, when I was getting into my 30s especially, and periodically throughout my 30s, I would have these bouts of, and actually into my late 20s too. No regrets, bro. I had this thing of like, man, if I would have only done this, and if I would have only done this, and but when I started thinking about that more and more into my 30s, anytime I'd have this bout of what would I have done differently, even into my mid 20s, honestly, I kind of made a little pact with myself. And my little pact went something like this. If you're worried about something that you should have done, then do it. That's what happened. And the first time was with college, actually. I was in and out of community college from 19 to 23. And 23-year-old me was like, man, I should have went to college for music. I should have tried. I'm just stuck in my hometown. I'm not doing anything. I'm stagnant. Why didn't you do this, Blaine? You could have went to college. You could have at least had a degree in music or something. You know, you want to be a musician, you might as well learn as much as you can. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Now you're stuck in this town forever. Good morning, Krista. To which I dwelled on for a couple of days. And then I just decided to go. I started researching some music schools. I set up some auditions and got all the paperwork. Luckily, when you hit 24, actually, you're considered independent. So they went off my own income for things like the Pell Grant rather than my parents, which netted me some decent amount on grants. And so I went, and I was lamenting again about how I should have went out to California or somewhere else other than Ohio after college, and then I decided to go. So many of these decisions happen of I should have done this, I should have done that, and the big thing for me was anytime I felt like that, I would just make that my current goal. Even with the trumpet thing, my brain was saying, "Man, you should have played trumpet. You'd be fairly decent by now. You'd have a different skill. You'd get on it." So I bought myself a trumpet. There's no, it would have been better if I learned when I was 10, but I'm learning while I'm in my late 30s, and it's harder. But had I not done that, I'd still be lamenting. And now I'm getting pretty happy with my progress, and having that time is awesome. And that's kind of what I told him. I was like, bro, like anytime I think of what I should have done, I just do it. Scoob, if you would have kissed Judith back in the 10th grade, you might be in a life that you hate now. Have you ever thought about that? You kiss Judith, you end up getting married, you end up getting divorced, you working a job that you hate, you put down your music career to raise kids who don't like you. Could have been awful. That's what I tell myself about the things that have a time limit that I can't change now. I would do everything differently. It happens. But there, all those changes that you wanted to make, you for the most part. We could all look back and want to change a lot of stuff, but I have no regrets regardless of all the pain I caused myself. I wouldn't have learned everything I have and wouldn't be here struggling for the life I want now. I wouldn't have my kiddos. Yeah. In finance, I actually have a similar saying that the best time to invest was ago. The second best time is now. Did you buy a good trumpet? I like to think I have a good trumpet. It's a Canstel. I think in like 1600B. They retailed for around $4,000, I think. Yeah, it's not like a classical trumpet. It's more of like a pop trumpet style, a little brighter, which is great for the style of music I play. But I got the most ridiculous deal on it from an estate sale. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my trumpet. If I found a better one at a better price, I wouldn't be opposed to grabbing up like a Stradivarius or something. But for my skill level, it's actually probably more trumpet than I deserve. But I play on stage in front of thousands of people, so I want it to sound its best, even if I'm not the best player. I gotta have all the pieces working. Vibe Squad, what's up? Do you think college helped more, or getting out of California and making those connections and mentors? That's a great question, Vibe Squad. Thanks for joining on YouTube, by the way. If you guys get a chance, YouTube is awesome. And please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, signing up for notifications. Those are all free things that you can do. to help support if you like my art. Um, I think college helped a lot for me. Um, I I needed to be in an environment where I could learn a lot and be so structured learning that I didn't have time to self destruct, as they say. And I also needed to be in a city with more connections and more available outlets to play. I'm from a tiny town called Findlay, Ohio, and there's really not much going on. There's some classic rock and metal music going on. There's a couple hippies here and there doing jam band stuff, but outside of that, there's really nothing going on. I just itched my upper lip on my microphone, which was weird. Um, so getting out of that environment into a place where I could play the styles of music that I wanted to explore with the caliber of musicians in those styles. Getting out was super important, and the opportunities to go out and play because that's what I wanted to do. Same thing with moving to California. In Columbus, there was only so many opportunities for me, and I didn't feel like I had the jazz knowledge or the thick skin to cut it in New York or the thick skin to cut it in LA. The shiny, well manicured skin to make it in LA. So I went to San Francisco, where the people who played the soul and funk and jazz music that I really like seem to be all based out of, and even the rock that I really enjoyed. It was a great vibe. I'm so glad I did that. Um, but yeah, the skills I acquired in college and the experience I acquired in college was incredible for me. Anytime that I've been in my life, I've been playing in cover bands, I've been playing in all sorts of bands forever to make ends meet. Um, but the main thing that I've been doing is teaching. And when I was in San Francisco and I had no contacts and no no income, no shows, nothing, no band, um, I found a job teaching up in Napa at a studio, and my degree in music and my teaching experience is what landed me the job. Had I not had that leg up, I might have lost the job to someone else who may have been more experienced, but I had the education as well. And that's important when you're teaching kids. There's a whole pedagogy thing. There's the ability to not only play your instrument, but explain your instrument to someone who might be, 5. So yeah, and I love teaching. So I always have a job that I love, regardless if the playing stops. So for me, it was a great thing. Got my head straight. Got all the knowledge I could use. I still have books that I haven't even scratched the surface of. Notebooks full of stuff. Chris, good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, bro. Christy, good morning. Paul, good morning. Don't wait until 64. Yeah, but I'd rather, do it at 64 than do it at 68, right? Right? That's the thing, right? If we're lamenting something, uh, generally, that's the time to do it. When I was growing up, one thing that spurred my attitude had a lot to do with me visiting bars early on, playing shows and stuff, and being in rural, small town, and I'd see these guys just being absolutely miserable, and these guys would basically have these stories that they would tell about their glory days, how they could have done something, how they could have been something, how they could have whatever, and that opportunity lost and the struggles that they had found themselves in afterwards, that they felt were too hard to climb out of, led to their depressing, sad, hopeless outlooks, and that really stuck with me. That scarred me just as much, if not more, than anything else. And I kind of vowed to myself to not get in to not be in that situation. And that all started with moving out of my hometown when I started to feel like that at around 23. George, Deb, I'm not sure which one of you is here, but welcome. Thank you for hanging out. Speaking of education, the guitar shop, Guitar Ranch, that I first got a job when I was, I want to say 18 or 19, at originally just doing odd jobs like cleaning the store and helping with the register, and then eventually moved into teaching. That was another amazing experience. As far as being in my town, that was the spot to meet the people and have the great experiences that I had, and grow myself to be enough of a musician to even pass the entrance exam to get into college for music. And so thank you, by the way, George and Deb, for giving me those opportunities. Otherwise, I'd be some random derelict, still cruising the streets aimlessly. Say that there's anything wrong with being in Findlay, Ohio. But when you have a goal and you give up on a dream, it's way different than finding a nice small place to settle down and enjoy your existence, if that makes sense. I don't ever want to knock where I came from, because it's beautiful. Great trees, lots of space. Things are much cheaper. And the pace of life, you can kind of go at whatever pace your heart desires. So, yeah. But for me, being in a place where I'm not challenged or supposed or given the opportunities in my chosen field is not good. At least not right now. $4,000. Yeah. Yeah. The company has since actually closed. I think they closed at the beginning of the pandemic. They were like one of the last American-made trumpet larger manufacturers. And they made really good quality instruments, but then they kind of went the wayside, which a lot of companies have done lately, that make, boutique style instruments. It's hard to compete. Either you have to be like a Yamaha or a Bach, or you have to make super small batch specialty instruments with minimal profit margins. It's pretty sad, but the instruments are amazing. That is how I feel about the melodica. Do I play sax? I don't. I wish I played sax. Scoob, who's on the chat, plays sax. He's awesome. I've been learning trumpet. I have a awesome, you can barely see it in there, awesome little can stool. I've been working hard over the past couple of years. Took me almost a good 6 months to get enough breath to play the damn thing. But it's been an amazing experience. And eventually I'd like to get a sax. Once I feel comfortable playing the trumpet and working in my other instruments that I want to work in. A lot more keys, maybe a little of this banjo here. I've also I always kind of had a penchant for wanting to try to play like the violin. Maybe that'll be my next ridiculousness, but we'll see. I have a goal right now. Um, Jessica, good morning. Good morning. Uh, I'm late. What have I missed? I'm basically talking about goals and not letting regrets of your past or things you wish you would have done differently, not letting them pass you by because you have the opportunity to do that now. What's the youngest student I've had? I used to sub in to teach a toddler intro to music class. So my youngest group of students were like 2-ish. As far as guitar students, I've taught 4-year-olds before. It really has less to do with the age as much as it does the individual student and their attention span. It's all about the attention span. If you're a 4-year-old has a pretty good attention span, then they probably do pretty well. If they don't, it might be best to wait for until they can grow that attention span a little bit, or work on it in the home, because that's really all it is. And then I just have to adjust my standards for the age and communicate that to the parents effectively. Like, hey, we're just going to be clapping our hands a lot, or we're going to be, you know what I mean, doing super simple stuff because it's all based on their attention span and how much substance I can squeeze into a lesson in the midst of the fun. Good afternoon, Mickey. Cheers. Hey, Deb. That's right. I mean, you guys have a shared account, so that's awesome, though. Good to see you virtually. You sound like a Journey song. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah. You're so sweet, Deb. Thank you for the kind words. Weege, good morning. I rag on my hometown all the time. Politicians sold it off to transplants and developers, so I left Campbell and became a transplant in Colorado. All right. I want to learn trombone this year. Nice. Hell yeah. I would recommend doing a little research. Finding what I did for this cancel is I found a really good repair tech that came recommended from my trombone player, Andrew. And I asked him for his recommendations. You could probably also ask your trombone player. And maybe picking up a second-hand instrument, a good quality second-hand instrument, because you're going to get a lot better quality than like when I went on Amazon and just bought a trumpet. I'm glad I did. It was like $120. If I would have gave up, I wouldn't have been out much. I think I ended up selling it for like $70. But but I could see how it would be frustrating enough to make you not want to pursue it. But if you get a good quality instrument, at least you know that any issues are not the instrument's shortcomings, if that makes sense. Whatever gets you playing is what I'm saying. Watching Blaine mid-flight. Oh, Kara, that's awesome. I love that. Natalie, good morning. Welcome from Goldfield, Nevada. Haven't seen you in a bit. Hope you're doing well. Hope the little one is doing well. For the banjo, violin was my first instrument. Heck yeah. I love strings too. I think a violin might be cool, or a viola or something. I don't know. One thing at a time. That's the other thing. I don't want to spread myself too thin. I want to focus on the things that I'm really excited about, and not let my distractions take away from my ultimate goals of what I want to do. Banjo is going to be fun, but I don't think it's ever going to be like an instrument of mine, like the trumpet or the guitar or the piano. So I need to fit that in accordingly, if that makes sense, rather than just neglecting something that I really should be focusing on and that I have an ultimate goal of growing with for something that's just fun time passing. And I don't know. That's just me. Do I currently do virtual lessons? I do, Vibe Squad. I teach over Zoom. I have a good amount of students. I also do backstage music lessons on tour. If you're interested, or you know someone who's interested who maybe would like some lessons, I have a lot of great referrals. I've been doing it for decades now. Feel free to hit me up in my DMs for sure. Got new pick guards for my Strat, going from a red flake to a mint green. Hell yeah. Little things like that can really elevate your thing. Anything that gets you to pick up the instrument is a good thing. That makes you excited. Kind of like getting the piano out of my studio and cleaning up the space makes me excited to get in here and track because I have room. I can set up the mics better, all that stuff. Little things. Scully, good morning. We're just talking about how you can turn regret into motivation and how it's never too late to do things. Basically, my philosophy is that if I wake up and I have a regret or a wish that I would have done something 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, I do it now. That's kind of my philosophy in life. And I'm hoping to use it to make my 40s even better than my 30s. John, good morning from California. Beautiful stream. Keep up. Thank you. I'll try to check out your channel after the live stream. Appreciate you for tuning in, and don't feel obligated to subscribe or follow or anything. Only if you like the content, because we just chatting out here. Speaking of which, I feel like I need to make this one short. Bass was my first instrument. That's awesome. I love that. Bass is awesome. I love playing bass. I've been doing it for years. I actually, Deb, the person that's been messaging that I used to work at her shop, her husband, George, had a rock cover band. He's an amazing guitarist. But I used to play bass in it, actually, at 19, I believe. And I've loved playing bass for a long time. Oh, I started playing upright in, like, I want to say 6th grade. And I played it all the way up through high school. Regret not buying highway tickets to Santa Cruz yet. You better hurry. There's still time. There's always time. All right, guys. I have to make this one short because speaking of which, I made everyone jump. Yeah, I had a lot of energy to get out back then. Still do, actually. Not quite as much, though. I have a bunch of stuff to do. I have pendants going out again today. If you haven't gotten a pendant made of my old guitar strings and signature picks, please do so. I got a lot of paperwork today. I got to get that practice in, work on these recordings. I really appreciate you all. If you haven't got a chance and you want to keep following me even closer, please consider joining my Patreon, patreon.com/DillingerMusic. It helps me create the art that I'm really excited to create. And if you love that art, please consider supporting the artist. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much for hanging out. And that almost was horrible. Cheers, guys.